Cerb 8.0 introduced bot interactions as the main way to converse with bots. Let's take a quick look at how you can create your own interactions. The first thing we need to do is create a new bot. So go to Search, Bots, click the plus icon, and then we'll call this one Dispatch Bot. Make the owner Cerb. Let's add a quick little image icon here. I'm going to pick a traffic light, click Generate. I'm going to move it down a little bit, and then I'm going to put it on a darker gray background. That looks good. Okay, I'm just going to save that and save the entire bot. Now when we open up the bot's card, we can click into behaviors. There are 3 different behaviors that we need to create an interaction. The first one is conversation get interactions for worker. We're going to pick global as the interaction point. And that's going to put a little button down in the bottom right of every page. We're going to call this get interactions for worker. And we're going to save it. Now when we open up that behavior, what we want to do is add a decision that's looking at which interaction point was clicked. And in our case, we only care about global, so that's what we're going to add for our outcome. Interaction point was global. Save changes. And when that happens, we need to return an interaction. So that's an action itself. And we need to create the second event here of handle interaction with worker. So every time an interaction is clicked, we're going to run this behavior to determine what to do with it. We're going to use the defaults here, show my tickets, and then tickets.find.me. One's the label, one's the interaction name. Now let's refresh this list. We see get interactions and handle interaction. Inside handle interaction, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create a decision, and now we're going to check what was the interaction that's running. Our outcome will be tickets find me. Now when that interaction runs, we want to create an action here that runs a behavior. I'm going to say use behavior, and now we need to create the behavior. So on dispatch bot, I'm going to say conversation with worker. We're going to make that private, which means only this bot will see that. We're going to say find my tickets. Save it. We'll save this action, and then when we refresh the list, we see our 3 behaviors now. Inside find my tickets, we're going to add an action that says hello to the worker. So we're going to say respond with a message, say hi, and then we're going to use the placeholder for worker on first name. Now we'll say reply with another message and say here are your tickets. And after that, we're going to actually open up a work list pop-up of type tickets. And the query we're going to use is owner.id : me. And that'll show the tickets owned by whoever the current worker is. Now we need to give them a way to close the behavior too. So we're going to say bye as a new action, which prompts them with a button that simply says bye. When they click that button, the behavior will continue, and all we're going to do is close the chat window. That's just an action, close chat window. Now we should be ready to take a look at it. So let's go to a new page, and we see we have the global interaction point now, the little bot button. If we click dispatch, show my tickets, it says, hi Kina, here are your tickets. A work list opens with things that are assigned to us. And if we click buy, the chat goes away. Let's go through the process one more time and add another interaction. So we're going to go back to get interactions. And where we're returning interactions, we can add a second one. In this case, let's return interaction using the same handle behavior. We're going to call it what's the date? And we'll just call that date.show. And that's it. We can save this. And now in the handle interaction behavior, let's just duplicate our tickets one. Then let's edit it. And we'll just paste date show over top of both of those. And when we're using the date show interaction, we're just going to call a different behavior. Let's create it. Back on dispatch bot. Conversation with worker, also private. We'll say show the date. Save that. Now we can save the entire thing. Refresh the list. Now let's fill in show the date. Like last time, we're going to add an action that just says hi. We'll respond with a message and say hi, use the placeholder menu, and pick worker first name. Then let's respond with another message. We're just going to say today is, and then we're going to use a placeholder. We're going to start with now, and we're going to use a date modifier on it. Now if we test, you'll see that that's going to show today's date. We're also going to say it is. Let's add another date modifier. But this time we're going to show the time, which we can do two different ways. Capital H, 24-hour clock. Lowercase g is a 12-hour clock. That's it. Save changes. Now we're going to add an action in the same way to let them close it. So we're just going to say bye, and we're going to respond. Well, let's add a prompt. Prompt with button, and we'll say thanks. When they click it, the behavior will continue, and all it's going to do is close the chat window again. So we pick close chat window, and we save that. Now let's go back to our interaction. Now we see that we have two interactions inside of our menu. If we click what's the date, it says, hi Kina, today's June 28th, it's 1:20 p.m. We say thanks, and it goes away. So hopefully you can see how incredibly useful interactions can be. And there are different interaction points that we didn't really look at. There's interactions on profiles, on cards, when you're replying to mail or composing mail. They're all over the place in the interface. And we did some really simple examples here, but you can get the idea that you could do pretty much anything. You can open up an interaction, the bot can take information from a record, and then it can go out and it can talk to remote APIs, pull in other information, combine it all together, and then tell you something that you're interested in. And those bots can also do the same kinds of actions that you can do in the interface. So they could be setting custom fields or doing anything else. And there you go. Now you know how to create your own bot interactions. Go forth and automate all the boring stuff.
Try Cerb for free at cerb.ai.